Welcome to Alcazar DC, the mission critical standard. This presentation introduces the 22 operational domains that strengthen data center resilience, safety, and day-to-day performance. Domain 1 establishes who decides, who executes, and who supervises every critical action. Effective governance requires documented roles, standard operating procedures, a hierarchy matrix, and current operational policies. Performance indicators, internal audits, and version control confirm that decisions are applied consistently and that every critical role has reliable continuity. Operational risk management identifies the threats that could interrupt the data center. It covers technical, human, environmental, and supply chain risks. Every risk must be assessed by probability and impact, including its single points of failure, and supported by a treatment plan. Risk indicators and lessons learned keep the register current and connected to operational continuity. The site and building form the data center's first line of defense. The assessment must consider flooding, earthquakes, wind, unauthorized access, and structural failure. Architecture should separate technology areas from non-critical zones and distinguish operational, maintenance, and emergency routes. A suitable location and resilient construction reduce risks before technical systems need to respond. Physical security protects the data center through successive layers, from the perimeter to each rack. Critical access points require multi-factor authentication, and every movement must remain traceable. Continuous surveillance, image retention, and visitor procedures reinforce control. A physical breach can defeat any logical defense, which is why this domain supports the entire security chain. Critical power maintains operations when the public grid fails. The system includes UPS units, generators, switchboards, batteries, and automatic transfer equipment with adequate redundancy for each zone. Actual load and single line diagrams must remain current, while autonomy and transfer sequences are tested regularly. Electrical reliability is never assumed, it is measured, tested, and documented. Cooling keeps temperature and humidity within the operating limits defined by OSHA and equipment manufacturers. Thermal maps, IL and rack sensors, and properly configured alarm thresholds reveal deviations early. Redundant equipment and disciplined airflow management prevent hotspots and reduce one of the most frequent causes of critical infrastructure incidents. PMS, GPMS, and DCIM systems provide centralized visibility across the data center. They integrate power, cooling, and security alarms into a dashboard available around the clock. Beyond displaying current conditions, they must retain trends and support escalation. Effective monitoring does not merely announce a failure, it identifies early warning signs and enables action before availability is affected. High availability is built every day. Operational rounds, shift checklists, and event logs reveal deviations before they grow. Every shift handover must be formal, clear, and traceable, with asset status and operating conditions fully updated. Many major incidents begin with small routine omissions, which makes daily consistency a mission-critical capability. Every change to critical infrastructure must be assessed, approved, and executed through a formal process. Impact classification determines controls, maintenance windows, and responsibilities. Checklists and tests are applied before and after intervention, and every major change has a rollback plan. The objective is to prevent an uncontrolled modification or maintenance activity from becoming the cause of an incident. The human factor is decisive because many incidents are linked to operational error. This domain requires annual training, competence assessments, certification, and proper induction for every new team member. Knowledge is protected through documentation, cross-training, and succession planning. A mature culture enables people to communicate risk and stop an unsafe action before it causes damage. Incident management organizes the response from detection through closure. Severity levels define priorities, maximum response times, and escalation paths. Critical cases activate the emergency contact tree and a crisis room with clear authority. After service is restored, root cause analysis and lessons learned convert the incident into an improvement that reduces the likelihood of recurrence. Operational continuity preserves or restores service during disruptive events. The business continuity plan organizes business response, while the disaster recovery plan details technical recovery for each scenario. RTO and RPO establish the acceptable loss of time and information. These plans must reflect business impact and be tested regularly, because an untested plan remains only an intention. Critical vendors are part of data center resilience. They must be classified by impact, evaluated regularly, and governed by contracts with clear service levels. Spare parts, support times, and emergency contacts must be confirmed. Every major dependency also needs a viable alternative, preventing the failure, non-performance, or disappearance of a third party from stopping operations. Capacity must be planned before infrastructure becomes saturated. This domain projects space, power, cooling, and connectivity with a horizon of at least 3 years. Warning thresholds enable action at 70, 80, and 90%, while the asset inventory records the end-of-life date of every system. Growth and technology renewal then become planned decisions instead of emergencies. The Alcazar DC evaluation model measures the data center's operational maturity across all 22 domains. Self-assessment and external review rely on documented evidence rather than perception. Every DAP receives a maturity score and becomes a prioritized action. Evaluation therefore does not end with a report. It produces a practical roadmap for improving resilience. Auditing verifies whether controls truly work and remain effective over time. An annual program, performed by qualified personnel, records findings and classifies them by priority. Every deviation creates a corrective action with an owner, deadline, and closure evidence. Continuous improvement distinguishes a data center that simply complies from one that can learn, adapt, and lead. Compliance integrates the legal, regulatory, and technical obligations affecting the data center. A current matrix links every requirement to its status and supporting evidence. The organization must assign authority, control deadlines, and prepare a plan for external accreditation. In critical infrastructure, compliance is not optional. It protects operations, reduces legal exposure, and strengthens commercial confidence. The standard must evolve with technology and operational practice. Alcazar DC therefore requires a formal review cycle, a qualified technical committee, and a documented process for incorporating new practices. Version control records what changed, why it changed, and when it becomes effective. Clear communication ensures that every user works with current and consistent criteria. Automation reduces human intervention in repetitive tasks and critical actions performed under pressure. Digital runbooks standardize frequent procedures, while automated responses act on alarms within safe boundaries. Every automation must be tested, monitored, and supported by manual control. When properly applied, it accelerates response, improves consistency, and reduces the probability of human error. A digital twin represents the data center's real infrastructure in a virtual environment. Integrated with DCIM, it can simulate loads, failures, and changes before production is touched. Teams compare scenarios, validate capacity, and anticipate consequences without placing service at risk. Planning is transformed because decisions can be tested on a current operational model instead of relying only on assumptions. Artificial intelligence uses historical and real-time data to anticipate failures, detect anomalies, and optimize energy consumption. Use cases should be prioritized by operational impact and measured against a reliable baseline. Models require good data, Governance and human review to avoid opaque decisions. Predictive analytics creates value when it converts early signals into dependable operational action. Sustainability manages environmental impact without compromising the critical mission. The data center must measure water usage where applicable and carbon emissions on a regular basis. Reduction targets need clear owners, investment, and follow up. Efficiency is no longer driven by cost alone, it is an increasing requirement from customers, regulators, and investors, and a condition for long term competitiveness. Alcazar DC Mission Critical Operational Resilience, built for real data center environments.